Raspberries are looking good. A lot of berries.
When will they ripen?
Probably about 2 more weeks, 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, they do look really good. When did you plant those?
Last year. First year you plant them, you don't get anything. They grow the canes. The canes that grow this year are the canes that produce berries next year.
Okay.
Called primo canes.
How many trees you got done?
We got 3 done so far. We're in the middle of getting the 4th one thinned.
What variety are these?
Well, we got a couple different varieties. We've started up there in the top. That's Red Haven. Then we got early Loring. A couple of early Lorings. Then we come down here. We get into the Sun Highs. Then we get to contenders.
So you're
Over
thinning.
Here's the cling peaches. We'll get them this week too.
So you're thinning the peaches. Can you tell everybody what that means?
Well, when you're thinning peaches, what you're looking at is we get a lot of peaches on a limb. That limb can't support all them peaches, and they won't get to nice size if you don't thin them. So we like to thin them around 6 to 8 inches apart. About that far apart. So we thin them so we get the size.
So you just drop them on the ground?
Yep. We're done out here. It'll look like a carpet of peaches on the ground when we're done.
So this helps to maintain the health of the limbs and get you better sized peaches.
You get better sized peaches, yep. So we're thinning. If you see a limb that don't have a whole lot of peaches on, you don't have to thin it too much. Like this one here. Take that little one off.
And we thin them by hand. Is there any other ways to thin them?
Some of the big orchards do some chemical thinning, but you still never get away from hand thinning. You still got to go back in and do a little hand thinning. So we just do it with the hand thinning and have it over with.
Do you have to thin the other orchard trees, like for like apricots, plums, apples?
Now and then we have to thin a few cherries just to make sure we get the size. This year our cherries aren't abundant, but we're going to have cherries, and we're not going to have to thin them. But peaches you do, apples you thin. Now they do chemically spray apples in the orchards. We do it by hand because we have so many. Only have a few of each variety, so it's kind of hard to do it with chemicals on an orchard. The scale of ours, we're small for that. So we just do it by hand.
So a couple months ago we did a video where we were pruning the orchard, but even today Dad's still kind of pruning a little bit as he goes. Do you do that based on like how heavy a branch looks or where it's growing?
Yeah, but the main thing is we didn't prune heavy this winter. We cut the middles out. We let some of the growth on there because we knew we were going into bloom early, and we knew we had a lot of frost and freezes yet to come. So we let more branches on to allow more fruit on the tree, and now we'll go through and thin and prune out what we don't need to help the tree. This allows us to have a lot more blossoms, so you have a lot more chances of peaches surviving the freezes and the frost and stuff.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today we're up in the orchard thinning peach trees. It's Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend. It's been in the 90s the past couple days, and I'm here with Dad and Steve. They've been working for the last couple hours. And they're thinning peaches and pruning trees as they go.
I'm getting down now. I'm moving along.
That's all right. Are you pruning or thinning or both?
Both.
Have you ever thinned peaches before, Steve?
I can't remember if I have or not. I don't know. If I had, it was when I first came around here, but
For those that may not know, you may have seen him in a few videos now, but this is Steve. This is my husband, and he's been commandeered into helping on the farm. He's a man of few words. What's wrong?
This tree here ain't got as many peaches on it, don't need as much thinning. This is one of the ones probably got hit with a little bit of frost, a little bit of freeze. Took a bunch of them out. They're not near as heavy. So if you see a limb where you see a couple close together and there's only a couple on that limb, you don't have to take them off.
all right.
Huh?
Battery dead.
Yeah. Had to get a new battery. You pulled it 12 heads of broccoli.
Peppers, yellow squash, and zucchini squash.
Peppers, yellow squash, and zucchini squash.
This here's the cantaloupes. They're sprawling out across the plastic here. We got the planting we planted, our first planting, and then that other 2 rows are second planting. They're taking pretty good, they're going real well. Here's the watermelons. They're starting to sprawl a good bit. They're looking real good. A lot of fertilizer, putting a good bit of water on them in these hot days. That's making a big difference. These have been in since around, I guess around the 15th of May. I guess when we put them in, somewhere around that. Somewhere between 12th and 15th. So they're looking real good. They're sprawling out pretty good. We're real pleased with them. Here we're coming into tomatoes. We got second strings on them. We're probably going to be putting third strings on by the weekend. Probably Thursday or Friday I'll be putting a third set of strings on them. They're looking real good. They're getting nice and tall. Real pleased with how these are going as well.
How many tomato plants did you put in?
In this field here, there's 400 tomato plants. And we have Roma tomatoes over there, and we have yellow tomatoes, Carolina Golds, and we have some grape
Cherry
yellow
tomatoes.
tomatoes and red cherry tomatoes. I'm looking at these trees here, Steve. I'm to be honest with you, I think we need to touch either one of these trees.
All right.
They don't look like it got that many on there. Have you been in this one yet?
No, I haven't been this one yet.
Might want to hit that bloom up there a little bit. You don't have to knock them real far, but a couple of them, but that's it. I mean, this tree here ain't got many on it at all. Heck, leave them alone. They'll get big enough. They'll be fine. Get real big anyway.
You said these are contenders,
Yes.
and the peaches, they don't get too big a size.
They don't get that big a size.
So you want to thin it a little bit more to make sure you get
Yeah.
the size you need. That bird didn't seem too happy.
Nah, they don't like people in their trees a whole lot.
About how long does it take to thin all the trees?
Well, there's 10 trees in this row and we're on the last one. We started at what time? 4?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But we didn't prune we didn't have to thin like 4 of them.
So it really depends on...
It depends on how heavy the crop is on the tree, really, honestly. And how daggum hot it is out.
And I guess the better you prune, the easier it is to thin.
Yes. That throat clearing from Steve is an obvious, we obviously didn't prune these enough.
Well, it looks different when there's all the leaves on them. It doesn't look like there's as many limbs when they're...
Yeah.
Anybody that calls himself a tree hugger isn't one until they've done this.
Yeah.
If they'd done this, they'd hate every tree out there. They'd be cutting them all down.
If you hear that noise, it's this barrel. What do you use the barrels for?
We burn them if we're getting low temperatures up here and we're in bloom. We'll burn them barrels to help protect them a little bit, raise temperature up a couple degrees. Helps out.
So when we get those warm weeks in February and March, everybody gets excited for the warm weather, but...
We hate it. Because we know it's going to be a lot more damage done to the trees when we get that warm weather because they're going to come in bloom earlier. And it's not a good thing.
Because when the weather doesn't stay warm and it freezes again, that kills all the blooms and then you lose your crop. So that's why we have the barrels, and Dad's had to come out here many a time to keep them burning, to keep things warmed up enough so the freeze doesn't set in.
It's worked many times. Sometimes it hasn't though. We've had years where it didn't help at all because it got too cold. You're only going to raise that temperature a couple degrees. But you got to try. You can't just give up.
And the Lord's good. Usually those years when things, maybe one crop doesn't do so well, another crop, you have a bit of a bumper crop. God always provides.
Yes, he does.
I'm texting all your friends.
No, Mom, you coming over to you?
My haircut? I just turned 2 years old. You got a book? Uh-oh. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Dad and Steve got about 10 trees done in the orchard, thinning and also some pruning. Took a look at some of the plants we put in about 3 weeks ago: tomatoes, watermelon, cantaloupe. There's some yellow squash, peppers, a bunch of other stuff. The raspberries are looking good. They'll be ripening in the next few weeks. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll be putting out videos throughout the summer here and there. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and thank you for tuning in.